previously restricted to the private sectors. We have as a policy goals incorporate and implement T&CM into the national health system more and more, contribute to increase health system efficiency, increase population access to them, promote and safe, effective practices into the health systems, act in prevention of diseases, health promotion, assistance, rehabilitation using T&CM as a very safe and effective healthcare option into the national system. Emphasize on sheltering and listening, developing the therapeutic bond and integration of the human being with the environment and society. At this very moment, our national policy completed last year 10 years since it was published in Brazil, and we do have the offer of herbal medicine, traditional Chinese medicine, homeopathy, anthroposophic medicine, and thermalism. But at this very moment, the government is discussing legitimizing another 14 medicine practice into this national policy, which is meditation, Ayurveda, yoga, integrative community therapy, Shantala, art therapy, music therapy, naturopathy, osteopathy, chiropractic, Reiki, massage therapy, and biodance, circular dance. As you can see, since the institutionalization of this national policy, it's clearly a growing number of health services since 2006. We began with less than 1,000 health services offering TCM, and now, 2016, we finished with more than 6,000 services all over the country. We do have a geographic distribution all over the country, from the very north to the very south, health services that offer TCM. And we do have in Brazil about 5,570 counties, and 1,700 offer a service of TCM. We are basically more strengthened on the primary health care level, which is 78%, but we also own the secondary and tertiary care too. The homeopathy service is mainly based on the primary health care. Since 2013, as a strategy program, we adopted e-learning introductory courses offered to all health professionals working in the national health system. Over the years, we have trained more than 18,000 health professionals in the TCM subjects. At this very year, coming soon, we are just about to launch a very specified herbal medicine qualification for primary healthcare professionals, which is a 160 hours course for all health professionals that belong to the primary healthcare. We do also have an e-learning and classroom course going on in auricular therapy, and we intend to qualify to train more than 4,000 professionals trained until the end of 2017 from all over the country, as you can access on this website, and you have access to the courses and the methodology we use. As for the strategies for homeopathy in 2017, we are working on training a large number of family physicians in homeopathy, training specialists in homeopathy to qualify access to homeopathy medicines into the national health system, because it is the responsibility of the Brazilian Health Ministry, based on its public health policies, to inform and qualify health workers, as well as guide the population by establishing channels of dissemination through various media as communication policy. And now I pass the word to my colleague, Dr. Daniel, who is going to present the Brazilian regulatory agents as well as the homeopathy regulatory aspects. Thank you.
Dr. Daniel is a young health consultant from the Ministry of Health, Brazil, and he is the coordinator for national policy on integrative and complementary medicine.
Okay, I will give continuation. The ANVISA is the Brazilian regulatory agency, and it's part of the Brazilian Ministry of Health. These agents make the regulation of all medicines that is in the market or in the public health system. They also make the sanitary surveillance as a part of the national health system. And regard the regulation actions of ANVISA has an important independence when it comes to medicine and health products. They are autonomous agencies when thinking in regulation of the medical products, but the Ministry of Health that define which medicines will go to the public health services. So the public health policies in Brazil only adopt products and medicines evaluated by ANVISA. The interaction work between these two institutions is very important. The Ministry of Health may request ANVISA to evaluate any medicine product that will contribute positively to the strengthening of the public health policies, but it's up to this regulatory agency to carry out the whole process involving evaluation and release. Only then the Ministry of Health decides whether insert the medicine products evaluated or not in the public health policy. The autonomy of the ANVISA as a regulatory institution guarantee the safeguard and the technical process of regulation of medicines and products. The public health policies in Brazil only adopt products and medicine evaluated by ANVISA. It's the same, sorry. So every industrialized medicine product must be registered before marketing authorization. This is our law of 1976. In Brazil, we have a category that we named dynamized medical products, and keep three categories of medicine: homeopathics, anti-homotoxic, and anthroposophic. They are in the same dynamized medical products regulation. In Brazil, we have almost 80,000 of pharmacies that sells industrialized medicines and may sells homeopathic medicine too. But we have more than 8,000 of handling pharmacies of homeopathic medicinal products all over the country. And in Brazil, 800 countries offer homeopathic service in the public health care system. This is the concept of ANVISA of these products. Homeopathic medicine uses, according to the principles of homeopathic doctrine, the anthroposophic address the human being in his physical, vital, soul, and spiritual levels. Anti-homotox acts as stimulation of the immune system, detoxification of homotoxin, and stimulation of organs. We have two types of regulation. One for compound handling pharmacies that have this good practice regulation, and we have for the pharmaceutical industry, we have two options: the registration or notification. This is the framework of regulation. We have a main normative and other regulations, all made by ANVISA for marketing authorization, post-registration, safety, efficacy, and so on. So this is the main regulation for dynamized products and deal with the three categories. We have also normative instructions for that has reference for safety and efficacy. We have a normative instruction for stability studies and for potency limits too. So we have two types of industrialized medicine regulation, the registered and the simplified notification. The products that has authorization for notification is only with single active components, those with the limits established in the normative instructions. Injectables can't be notified, and they can't have therapeutic indication or trade names, and they have a guidance booklet. But for registration, we have the compound dynamic drugs, they must be registered, injectable, and drugs outside the potency limits in the normative instruction. And they can present therapeutic indication, trade name, and text of the package insert. In this moment, we are the ANVISA is studying the change of this regulation. It's in discussion, and the main goal is to simplify the regulation process and to speed it. Yeah? The main changes proposed are the extension of the simplified notification, extension for compound drugs, extension the notification for upper limit potency for sale without medical prescription, considering safety criteria, the permission to take the name of the notified medicine product, permission to adopt a claim for use of the notification medication, and extension of the range of post-registration exchanges subject to the standard. The major gains from the changes is a transportation for notification of most of the drugs currently registered, around 60% of that, based on international accepted concepts and safety. The response of the main claims of the productive sector in relation of the notification, permission to adopt name of the drug and claim of use for notified, more rapid analysis and interface with the regulated sector, making market authorization faster. So it can gain greater control over the products in the event of irregularities, the confirmation possibility of the information provided by the manufacturers in the moment of notification per means of regulatory inspections, focusing on the production process, and lower the notification cost in a short time in comparison of the registration. So as challenge and perspective, we have a simpler but safer regulation, guarantee the full assistance of the population from the expansion of the T&CM offer in private care, but mainly in the public health system, and ensure access to homeopathic medicine products and other traditional medicine from national health policies. Thank you. This is our content.
Thank you, Dr. Paulo and Dr. Daniel, my two learned colleagues from Brazil. You have very rightly highlighted 2 points. Traditional medicine, including homeopathy in healthcare, and the regulation part. I would like to inform you that in India also, regulation we are discussing, and we also have a public health initiative which we handle through National Ayush Mission, which is very popular and very useful at the primary healthcare level. Especially CCRH has run a very successful mother and child health program through ASHA. So traditional medicine is coming up in long way in taking care of the primary health, and we are rather working now to integrate in the secondary and tertiary healthcare also. As you must have heard yesterday that we are coming with the All India Institute of Homeopathy in Delhi, which will integrate homeopathy in tertiary healthcare along with research and better quality care to our general population. So thank you very much for enlightening us about the healthcare and regulation at Brazil. Thanks once again.
Yeah, now the next speaker is one of the most academically very bright speaker, Dr. Madhur Gupta. She is MD in pharmacology and done her DM in clinical pharmacology from All India Institute of Medical Sciences. She is the technical officer, pharmaceuticals in WHO country office for India. And her key areas of work are development and implementation of national drug and vaccine policy and related areas. And she is also engaged with the development of national standards and guidelines for medicinal products and technologies, providing technical and operational support for capacity building. She will be speaking on relation between WHO traditional medicine and strategy and regulation of homeopathic medicinal products. This will be a combined presentation with Dr. Kim Sang-Go-chol, who is the regional advisor for traditional medicine in WHO Southeast Asia. Dr. Kim is from from DPR Korea, qualified in modern and traditional Chinese and Korean medicines, a vast knowledge base, and worked as a medical doctor and researcher in National Academy of Koyo Traditional Medicine, and he also worked as a medical officer in the Ministry of Public Health. Dr. Madhu Gupta to begin with.
Thank you, Chair. Very good afternoon to everybody. This is going to be a combined presentation between myself and my colleague, Regional Advisor in the WHO CRO Office, Dr. Kim Sang-chol. Beginning from the Sustainable Development Goals, as we know, we have had a transition from the MDGs to the SDGs. And one of the key aspects of the Sustainable Development Goals are the SDG 3, the target 3.8, under which the entire medicines agenda of the WHO, which focuses on achieving universal health coverage, including access to quality essential healthcare services and access to safe, effective, quality, and affordable essential medicines and vaccines for all. This includes traditional medicine as well. So this is the overall overarching agenda of the Sustainable Development Goals. And this is the landmark resolution, the World Health Assembly Resolution 6720, which provided the guidance to WHO by the member states, what WHO should do to continue to support member states upon their request in their area of regulatory system strengthening, including as appropriate by continuing to evaluate the national health systems, including the regulatory authorities, applying the WHO evaluation normative tools, the guidances, generating and analyzing evidences, the facilitation of formulation and implementation of institutional development plans. The IDP, in short, which you see on the left, is Institutional Development Plan for NRA strengthening or the regulatory authority strengthening, which we undertake as part of our mandate given by the member states. And not only do that, but provide hand-holding and technical support in capacity building, in policy advice, in normative guidances to be adapted to countries, and provide technical support to the national health systems in countries at regional level and at global levels. The WHO Resolution 6720 focused on all these areas, the norms and standards, health system strengthening, the aspect of integration, which was so well articulated by my German colleague as one of the panelists, and the aspect of strengthening the safety systems, well highlighted by our Brazilian colleagues. So here is the gamut of activities which WHO engages in this area as part of the WHO Resolution 6720. It is a very, very holistic and wholesome resolution which focuses on strengthening the national regulatory systems, not only for medicines, conventional medicines, but for traditional medicines, vaccines, diagnostics, and medical devices, including blood products. This is the WHO's capacity building model. This is largely working very well in the area of, most robust in the area of vaccines, but in the area of medicines also, there is an attempt now as part of the global benchmarking tool, which has been agreed with the member states over last 2 years. So what we do basically is we benchmark. This tool has been agreed with the member states. So there is on the request of the NRA, in case of medicines, blood products, etc., there is a formal visit by WHO team. This is followed by development of institutional development plan for NRA strengthening, followed by provision of technical support, training, learning, networking, the WHO support through the global learning opportunities, the technical support through in-country training, etc. And then we also monitor progress and impact by WHO electronic platform to monitor NRA's information and assessments, the kind of trainings we have provided to countries. We actually map and we can tell at the flash of a button how many people we have trained in Brazil, how many people we have trained in Russia in the last 10 years, in India. So this is all mapped as part of our electronic platform. This is the WHO global benchmarking tool, which had a discussion for which has been ongoing for last 2 years. And I'm very happy to share there is a consensus now, and we have a global benchmarking tool for all the systems, all the medical products at WHO. Initially, we were working in silos. Medicines had their own team, vaccines had their own team, traditional medicine had their own team, diagnostic devices had their own teams. Now we have one tool cutting across, the WHO global benchmarking tool, and it has everything in it: vaccines, devices, diagnostics, traditional medicine, blood products, everything. And in the global context, different assessment tools have been referred to. These have been discussed in 2 major international consultations and about 45 WebEx meetings amongst regulators all over the world in the last 2 years. And looking at the various regulatory assessment tools, if you see here, you have BIMA, you have GGP, PAHO model, you have IMDRF, USP Rapid, the PICS model for regulatory inspections. Everything has been taken into account, and then this global benchmarking tool has been designed and agreed with the member states. It is already functional for medicines and vaccines. However, for traditional medicine, this is going to become operational this year, and medical devices, blood, and traditional medicines are going to be a part of this tool, merged with this tool, where we are actually focusing on the national regulatory system, regulatory inspections, clinical trial oversight, vigilance, which actually means pharmacovigilance in case of pharmaceuticals. It means materiovigilance in case of devices. It means biovigilance in case of blood products. And it means vaccine-vigilance in case of vaccines or vaccines follow-up, so to say, the biosimilars and the other products. So these are the kind of the preclinical, the entire product life cycle, which you can see how each domain is going from one to the other. Coming to the WHO's traditional medicine strategy, this has been a landmark strategy which has focused on integration agenda. And the main key pillars are actually building knowledge base for management through policies. Quality assurance continues to remain a key focus. Safety, proper use, that is the rational drug use, rational traditional medicines use, and effectiveness by regulating products, practices, and practitioners. These three, all the three, products, practices, and practitioners form the key focus of the strategy. And of course, the larger agenda continues to be promoting universal health coverage by integration, where what we mean by integration is capitalizing on potential contribution to improve health services and health outcomes, and informed choice about self-health care. We have several models, for example, in India, where we have coexisting or integrated health systems, where we have in the same hospital, the choice which the patient can make to get treated by a homeopathy doctor or Ayurveda doctor or a conventional doctor. So there are models which are being tried and tested in India, many discussions are underway to look at these kind of models. WHO has also signed a 5-year MOU between the Ministry of Ayush, Government of India, and this MOU is going to focus on developing key normative documents. These key normative documents include benchmarks for Ayurveda, benchmarks for yoga, benchmarks for Unani, benchmarks for Panchakarma, benchmarks for essential terms in traditional and complementary medicine, and also working on a WHO database for global traditional and complementary medicine practitioners. We don't have a database as of now. We are going to be working on a database with India as part of the terms of reference. And most importantly, the last bullet is the establishment of a network of international regulatory cooperation for traditional and complementary medicine practice. Here, the entire gamut of practice and the network of, the knowledge, the network, the practices are going to be stitched in this. And this was followed recently by a big meeting, a global meeting last year in November. It was the annual WHO meeting of International Regulatory Cooperation, which was hosted by Government of India, very graciously by Ministry of Ayush, and it had representation of more than 33 delegates from 17 countries, and focused on, the safer use of herbal medicines and the roadmap for overall traditional medicine agenda, which included homeopathy as well. And speaking on this occasion, our regional director, WHO Southeast Asia region, said, "We must harness the contribution of traditional medicine to health, wellness, and people-oriented care, while at the same time promote safe and effective use of traditional medicines." In this context, WHO's strategy on traditional and complementary medicine 2014 to 2023 is a valuable tool for strengthening the quality, safety, and effectiveness of traditional and complementary medicine. This is one of our key guidelines of the World Health Organization for safety. There is a need to look at the overall quality control and quality assurance agenda in the area of traditional medicines, and we have some documents, guidelines in the pipeline. This particular guideline focuses on technical aspects of production and manufacture, and the safety aspects, including quality standards, specifications for homeopathic medicines, and as well as for controlling their quality. I would like to now invite my colleague, Dr. Kim Sung Chol, to take you forward through the slides, as this is a seamless presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Gupta. Dr. Gupta, that is a nice introduction of the global traditional medicine strategy. So here, I'd like just to mention that global strategy, how that is defined, that objective as well as that action point for the member states as well as stakeholders and WHO. Okay. Sorry. So as you've seen in this one, this is actually that global strategy defined that the action point for the member states. So that the first point, action point is identify the existing standard and policy and regulation to ensure product and quality and safety. So this is the action point 1. Action point 2 is the increased credibility and accessibility by developing and implementing the regulatory framework. And action point 3 is to make provision for the basic regulatory framework, which including that registering that the products and licensing providers and empowering regulator to implement public health measures. And also action point 4 is the, we have to guarantee that regulatory capacity as well as to ensure that enough resources in terms of the human resource as well as finance to responding to market report, market need. So these are the 4 points. And action point 5 is the, that member state has to disseminate that the evidence and guidance and information which can support his, that the claim. In that way, we have to promote the evidence-based use of traditional medicines. Action point 4 is to encourage all stakeholders involved that developing, that regulatory framework. So I think this is a good opportunity. I saw that first time I saw that all these different stakeholders sit down together and discussing from this manufacturing perspective as well practitioner perspective or different perspective, and we discussed that how to really develop this regulatory system. I think this is a good initiative, and also that the member states has to set and adopt standard for traditional medicine products. So in this regard, we are talking about that the pharmacopoeia and monographs in order to setting quality standard and etc. And also that action point 8 is to promote international regulatory and cooperation and particularly information sharing among the about the traditional medicine products. So these are the actually action point for member states. Global strategy also that